Hello viewers, we welcome you once again to our platform. This is my brother James and Joshua once again. Today we are mainly going to talk about a beautiful future and how to have a beautiful future, how to set your future in an angle whereby you're going to enjoy it. And a future without God is wasted.
Yes.
A future without God is wasted. Today we're going to read from Jeremiah 29 verse 11 and then we'll start off from there, which says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." So briefly, James, let's talk about basing on Jeremiah 29 verse 11 and then we can talk more as we go on.
Okay. Now, Jeremiah 29:11, you see these are words spoken by God to prophet Jeremiah. But of course, these words are also applicable to us because what God spoke in the past is still the same words. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So, the same words he spoke then are the same words that we can actually inherit as a blessing. But one thing I notice here is that this is not a promise just for everybody. This is a promise for those who believe in Jesus Christ. Once you believe in God, these are the blessings you get. You partake of them. So you see, God says on his mind, he has good plans for you. Your future is actually safe. Your future is secure. Everything concerning your future is actually sorted. The challenge with us, even believers, is that you're always worried about tomorrow. Yet the same Bible says, do not worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will take care of itself. That means God has your tomorrow in his hands. When you're worried about your children, you're worried about your future rent, you're worried about so many things. And actually the funny thing, fear is expecting bad to come. And hope is expecting good to come. Once you have your God, you know that what you're expecting, whatever that happens, even if circumstances look rough right now, your future is very well guaranteed. In fact, in Proverbs chapter 23, verse 18, it says, "There is surely a future hope for you, and your hope will not be cut short." Surely means it's a guarantee. There is surely a future hope for you, and your hope will never be cut short.
I also believe you cannot have a beautiful future without setting goals.
Yes.
You can't have a beautiful future without having people that you're going to look up to.
Yes.
So these are requirements and these are goals that we set for a future purpose, for a future that we are going to live in and will be able to enjoy. Today we are looking at God as being the number one player. If you want to have a beautiful future, you have to seek God.
Yes.
You have to read the Bible. You have to make the Bible your friend. It has to be your go-to at all points. When you're in a point of panic, in a point where you're going through tests, in a situation where you're having so many challenges, remember there's a God who's telling us today, "I have good plans for you." In Jeremiah 1:5, God tells us that he knew us even before we were formed in our mother's womb. So if you think about that, then why should you worry about the future?
Yes.
That means you have to rely on this very person who's telling you, "I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb."
Yes.
That means you have to entirely trust him.
Yes.
And the only way you're going to receive all that is by remaining in God. Because God tells us in John 15 that if you remain in me, I'll also remain in you.
Yes. In fact, worry and panic and anxiety, they are sin. How do we know this? Hebrews 11:6 says, "Without faith, it's impossible to please God." Now, imagine faith is the only currency that we use to buy things. As believers, we don't depend on the physical material things. Ours, faith is our currency, faith is our medicine, faith is our access. God is the one who does. Then for us, we believe. And by believing in him, we simply obey and trust his direction. He gives us the purpose. You know where to move. If you do not know God, you will even waste time setting your personal goals. Your personal goals have to be in line with what God has aligned for you. And that has to be faith. Mark chapter 11 verse 24, it says, "For when you pray, whatever you pray for, believe you have received it and it is yours." This is the same promise. Now, for us to access the bright, good future, all we simply have to do is to pray to our God and believe that whatever we've prayed for has been answered, even if our eyes cannot yet see it or touch it. Because faith is actually calling things that are not as if they are. Even if you don't see it now, it does not mean it does not exist. It exists if God showed it to you. It's just a matter of time. And faith is the currency by which you bring it into manifestation.
Do you know that there are people who think that having a lot of money and having a lot of material things, cars and all that, that is going to give you a beautiful future? Because I know there's someone watching right now saying, but if I have my money, if I have all my houses, if I have all my cars, then my future is going to be beautiful. But you're wrong, because there are people I see, they're in their 60s, but they're still waking up early as I speak, as 6 in the morning to go and chase after money. And yet there are people who are also in their 60s, but they are living off God, they're enjoying, they are giving. I think having a beautiful future is, I would think, what would make me happy is if people can walk into my home and they're receiving from me. I'm giving, I'm involving myself, or I'm engaging myself in charity, helping people out there. That's what I would call a beautiful future, where you're the one giving, where you're at a point where you're contented with what God has given you. Because money will never be enough. You will still chase money if you're still thinking that money is going to create a beautiful future. It's God first. For you to enjoy and know that I've worked as this, and now it is time for me to relax and give more, because that's what God wants for us. So I'm thinking, because at times people don't understand, they think that it's money. But me, I think it is God. Whether you're in your 40s, you're in your 30s, whether you reach your 50s, whether you reach your 60s, without God, you'll never have hope.